Now, Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin are two of the oldest legends in the game. Last season, Alexander Ovechkin was able to break Wayne Gretzky's goal record, but also last season, Sidney Crosby would record his 20th point per game season, which would surpass Wayne Gretzky's 19. So these two legends were able to do something incredible last season, but what if these two guys played together? Well, that's what we're going to see today. I've surrounded Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin with some of the highest overalls available in free agency, and over the next 5 years, we're going to turn this team right here into Stanley Cup champions. We're going to get Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin a couple more Stanley Cups, but this time they're going to be doing it together. But clearly, this team needs a lot of work, and with this team needing a lot of work, that means we got to make a lot of trades, so let's immediately go do that. Now, we have to understand that we're certainly not winning a Stanley Cup in year number 1, but if we can build for the future, that would be great. So Marco Scandella and a 3rd round pick is going to be sent over to the Boston Bruins. Morgan Geekie, I know for a fact if I put you on the top line, you're going to develop into like an 86 overall. Matt Poitras, more than likely you're going to play some second line minutes this season, but in the future, you're going to be a good 3rd line centerman for us. Hopefully this deal is going to be enough, but it doesn't look like it. Now it's time to break out the lucrative 7th round picks. It was only a matter of time before the lucrative 7th round picks got brought out here, and we're going to be doing that in trade number 1, but unfortunately, a lucrative 7th round pick is not going to be enough here. We might have to go with the 4th round pick. At the end of the day, I'm perfectly fine with trading a 3rd and 4th rounder away in this deal, so hopefully we can walk away with these two guys, and it looks like we're going to be able to. Now this might be a bit of a risky trade, but I think it's going to work out. Alex Vlasic, I'm giving you first pairing minutes here. Your cap hit right now was 4.6 million. Right now that's a little bit much for an 83 overall. However, if you're playing on the top line and you're going to be on the ice with Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin, I'm only assuming that you're going to develop, so I think this trade's going to work out really well for us. So Vlasic, welcome to the team. I'm going to be honest here, these actually might be the only two moves we make unless we pick up a really good goaltender for cheap. Now in one of my last videos, I realized that Ersson is indeed him, one of the best goaltenders in NHL 25, and I was just completely unaware of this. So Ersson, you're going to be my starting goaltender today. Martin Jones and 2 7th round picks are being sent over. Unfortunately, that's not enough because they need the even more lucrative 6th round pick. We've traded a lot of draft picks away, but you know what? We've brought in some great players, so it's certainly worth it. Now, Morgan Geekie, ideally, we can re-sign you for the next 4 years because I think you actually could potentially play on our top line the entire video. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to give you $4.3 million and potentially even a no movement. This is quite a bit for Morgan Geekie, especially since we don't know if he's actually going to turn to the star player I think he is. So how about we do a no movement with a modified no trade? If I give you 50% team protection and 4.2 million, I think that's a pretty fair deal. We actually might be able to do 4 million exactly. So this is what I'm going to offer Morgan Geekie. We're doing a 4x4 with a modified no trade. I think it's pretty reasonable. I'm just really hoping he accepts it. Now, is this team right here ready to win a Stanley Cup? Absolutely not. Like outside of our first line, the team's really not looking that good, but I'm not expecting us to win in year number 1. By the time we get to the beginning of next season, we're definitely going to be able to win a Stanley Cup. Like we're going to do a major overhaul over the offseason. Jaroslav Halak, respectfully, you're not the starter here. That's Ersson because Ersson is that man. What do you know about Ersson? He's the GOAT apparently. So it's finally time for us to dive in. Over the next 5 years, Crosby and Ovi had some pretty high expectations, but at the end of the day, I'm going to have to perform for these guys. I'm going to have to bring in some elite talents because without those elite talents by their side, I don't really know how much success this team's going to see. Now, while this team overperforms, because I certainly wasn't expecting an 8-5 record to start the season, if you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 86K by the release of NHL 26, and the release is only a couple weeks away, so if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down below and drop a like while you're at it. Now, it shouldn't be that much of a surprise with only Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin. This team's not going to see a ton of success, or that's at least what you would think. This team is doing significantly better than I was expecting. 10th in the entire league, a 37-29-3 record, 3.23 goals per game, 3.32 allowed. So we actually have a negative goal differential here, but we're 10th in the entire league. I'm speechless. Yeah, there's not really too much I can say here. I actually don't know what to say. Sidney Crosby, 96 points, 32 goals, 64 helpers. Ovi's got 50 goals and 33 assists at the 69 game mark. Morgan Geekie's got 60 points here. He's up to an 84 overall. Yeah, there's not really too much I can say here. We are certainly exceeding expectations. Alex Vlasic, he's got 24 points, still an 83 overall, but eventually he's going to develop for us. And then when it comes to Ersson's numbers, 30 wins, 2 shouts, a 901 and a 326, but maybe Jaroslav Halak has to get a couple more starts because he's got a 920 so far. But I could never have imagined that this team right here would have 37 wins at the trade deadline. How on earth has this happened? We actually might have to make a couple moves here. Like, our first round pick's actually not going to have that much value. Our first round pick for next season has a lot of value because they're assuming that next season we're going to be a really bad team. So maybe we actually trade this first round pick this season. Okay, we could potentially be cooking here. We all know our first round pick for next season shouldn't have nearly this much value. We're going to make a bunch of great moves over the offseason, and we're going to be in a great spot. Chinakhov, Provorov, and Voronkov. All of you guys play a really big role in this team. I could re-sign Voronkov for pretty cheap. Provorov's coming back for really cheap, and then Chinakhov's going to have one more year under contract. I think this is an amazing deal for us. We can get this done without hesitation, but I think we can get something else as well. Like, how about Cole Sillinger? I don't think Cole Sillinger's really going to make that much of a difference in this deal. They're saying no. Okay, I guess we can't get Cole Sillinger, but Chinakhov, Provorov, and Voronkov, I think this is going to be a spectacular deal for us. We bring in 3 really good guys that are immediately going to impact this team, and just like that, we're already better than we were at the beginning of the season. We're a 37-win team right now. We're going to make the playoffs in year number 1. We're seeing a lot more success than expected. Also, Tyson Jost, I actually might bring you onto the team because you could play bottom 6 minutes for me. So yeah, Tyson Jost, welcome to the team. Now, what can I say here? We got so incredibly lucky. We shouldn't have made the playoffs here, but in the final game of the season, the right team lost. The Minnesota Wild ended up losing their final game of the season. We held the tiebreaker over them, so we're going to be getting into the wild card because of the Minnesota Wild. 14th in the entire league, a 43-33-6 record. We shouldn't be here. We did finish with a positive goal differential though. We had 2 more goals than we allowed, so that's definitely progress in the right direction. Sidney Crosby, 121 points. He's only 37 years old, so this is a very realistic season for him. Alexander Ovechkin, 106 points, including 62 goals. He's 39 years old. These guys are defying odds right now. They shouldn't even be playing this well, but they are. Morgan Geekie, 71 points in 82 games. I was thinking it'd be up to an 85 overall, but we're going to see a lot of progression from you over the offseason. Chinakhov, 54 points. Poitras, 51. They held up their end of the bargain here. When it comes to goaltending, Ersson, 34 wins, 2 shots, a 901 to 326. If I'm being completely honest, I have very low expectations heading into the postseason. If we get swept to the Winnipeg Jets, I'm not going to be overly surprised. It's not our time yet. Like, if I'm being honest, I still haven't processed the fact that this team somehow made the playoffs. By every metric, we shouldn't have made the playoffs, but we're actually going to be stealing 1 game away from the Winnipeg Jets. We have the lead in the series. We have a 3-1 series lead right now. Why do we have a 3-1 series lead? I still wouldn't be surprised if we lost to the Winnipeg Jets here. We could easily blow a 3-1 series lead. We're not that good of a team. Let's not convince ourselves we're a lead or anything, but we're going to be beating the Winnipeg Jets in overtime here, and we're off to the second round. How on earth did that just happen? Now, what can I say? I guess we have a chance here. Like, if we're able to get past the Winnipeg Jets, I think we can really compete with anyone right now. Should the Sacramento Sword be able to compete? Absolutely not. There's way too many low overalls on this team, but we're winning, and that's all that matters. Now, you know what? It actually all makes sense. I understand why we made it to the second round. Ersson is our starting goaltender. As long as we have Ersson, we have a chance here. We've dropped the first 2 games, make that the first 3, and make that the first 4. We're getting swept by the Dallas Stars. Now, this is what I expected in the first round. But nope, we somehow beat the Winnipeg Jets. We're going to be falling in the second round. At the end of the day, we saw way more success in year number 1 than I was expecting. Now, I don't feel quite as bad about losing to the Dallas Stars because they're going to go on to win the Stanley Cup. So we ended up losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champs. Nothing you can really do about that. When it comes to our postseason scoring, Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin, you guys definitely took a step back. Like, Ovi only had 8 points and 3 goals. Crosby had 6 goals and 4 assists for 10 points. He was carrying the way here. But this team's showing a lot of promise for the future. Morgan Geekie, what overall are you? You're up to an 88 overall. That's what I was looking for. He's going to be an absolute superstar on the first line, and we're only paying this man $4 million. Yeah, we're set for the future now. Ersson had an amazing season here. He's only an 83 overall. I thought he would have developed a little bit. A 921 and a 274 is really not that bad considering what you had in front of you. So once we give you a competent team, don't be surprised if we're winning a Stanley Cup next season. Now, with this being one of the final videos of NHL 25, we have to honor a couple legends here. And who's that one legend I'm thinking about? Low franchise potential, Zach Morin. I know for a fact this man will not have low franchise potential in NHL 26. Or at least I'm fully expecting him not to have low franchise because bro didn't even get drafted yet. He has a low franchise potential. I still think that must have been a mistake or something. I don't understand how Zach Morin, of all players, has low franchise potential, but that's beside the point. We have to honor this legend, and we have to bring him to our team one last time here. Now, we have a lot of players that we have to re-sign here, but if I'm being completely honest, we're probably not going to bring any of these guys back, except for these guys at the top. Provorov and Voronkov, we're definitely bringing you back to the team. And Blake Wheeler, I'm going to be honest, I actually might even bring you back. You're an 84 overall. You could could play some bottom 6 minutes for me. But we're going to start with Provorov here. I'm thinking about 5.5 million. He wants 6.4. If I'm going to be giving you 6.4 million, we have to do a 4-year deal because I want to keep you around for the rest of the rebuild. So how about we do 6.5 and I up that from 10% to 36%. Actually, I'll make that 50%. We'll just keep it simple. So 6.5 for the next 4 years for Provorov. Welcome back to the team. And then when it comes to Voronkov, why would you accept this deal? Like, that actually makes no sense. You're 24 years old and 85 overall. What if we make it 4 years? Then you want 2.9 million. How about we just do 2.7 for the next 4 years to get an 85 overall? Voronkov, you need to fire your agent because that's an incredible deal for us. He's not accepting. Okay. Let's go back to the drawing board here. We're still doing 4 years, but how about 2.8 million? 2.8 for the next 4 years. Voronkov, are you going to be willing to accept that deal right there? I want to be on a team that's vying for the Stanley Cup often. What do you think we're trying to do here? So let's try this again. A 4-year deal, 2.9 million. Voronkov, please accept the deal. I'm basically giving you everything you're asking for. He still doesn't want to sign. All right, I will do 3.2 million. Or do I just give you a no movement in your final season? I could just do that. And you know what? I think that's the play here. Is if I give him a no movement in his final season, we can get his salary down to 2.6 million. Voronkov, is this enough to keep you on our team? Yes, it is. So we actually got you for less money than we would have before. I guess things worked out in the end. So after getting through the re-sign phase, we do have to focus on a couple of these extensions. One of them being Alexander Ovechkin, and we can't really be surprised that he's looking for $11 million. Like, bro put up 60 plus goals last season. He can basically command anything he wants. But I think we're going to be looking at about 10.5 for the next 2 with a full no movement, because obviously we're going to be keeping him on the team and we want to do that for as cheap as possible. When it comes to Chinikov, he's looking for 4.5 million. We could probably make that work. But how about we do 4.3 for the next 3 instead? And then when it comes to Matt Poitras, we're going to be doing 2.6 for the next 3 years. But now that we've given out all these extensions, I actually lied. We got to re-sign Ersson as well. And Ersson only wants 1.8 million. No, we're doing that for the next 3 years. 1.9 for the next 3 years. Ersson, you might be our starter for this entire video. But now that we've completed all those re-signings, let's go spend some money in free agency. Now, when it comes to free agency, there's one player I'm looking at here who's a 95 overall, and his name is Mitch Marner. Do we just throw a bag at Mitch Marner here? Like, we signed him for $13 million. He plays on the top line alongside Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin. Like, that would be an incredible top line. Yes, $13 million is quite a bit for Mitch Marner, but how often do I go for Mitch Marner in free agency? So that's what I'm going to offer him. We'll see how well that deal ages for us. And then when it comes to the rest of the team, who can we sign for really cheap deals? Holmstrom, you usually develop for me after playing 1 season on the second line, so I'll bring you onto the team. Unfortunately, in this universe, you're probably not going to play second line minutes. You're going to be on the third line, but for 2.9 million, it's not really that bad. Now, obviously, this one was a no-brainer. Trent Frederic, here's a 2x2 for you. And of course, like always, Trent Frederic's going to be accepting immediately. Now, I'm actually not going to show you the rest of these deals here because I basically can guarantee you all know who I'm bringing to the team. Mason Appleton, here's 1.7 million for the next 3 years. He's going to be accepting. Now it's time for us to bring a defenseman to the team. Who do you think I'm going to be bringing in when it comes to a defenseman and the 2025 free agent class? Wow, Nick Perbix, never would have expected that one. Yeah, we're bringing Nick Perbix to the team once again. It's kind of crazy to think about, but all of these stick on the ice legends that we're acquiring in the 2025 offseason, we're not going to see any of these guys during the 2026 offseason in NHL 26. In NHL 26, we're going to meet an entire new batch of stick on the ice legends. We're going to have a whole new group of players joining our exclusive club. With that being said, Scott Perunovich, here's 2.1 for the next 2 years, and I'm going to go ahead and sign a bunch more players. Now, I know $13 million was more than what Mitch Marner was asking for, but I still didn't expect him to join the team. But here we go. Mitch Marner, welcome to the team. We're going to have Marner, Sidney Crosby, and Ovi on our top line. Our first line is going to be elite, and nobody's going to be able to stop it. Okay, so I know I said Matt Poitras was going to be a good second line playmaker for us. However, things have changed because now I realize if I package him up along with 2 second rounders and a 7th, I can bring in JJ Peterka as well as Bo Byram. So our defense gets an upgrade, our offense gets an upgrade, and now all we have to do is get a new playmaker for the second line. Now, when it comes to the 2026 draft, we have absolutely no draft picks to work with. We are trading everything we have as well as the very few prospects we have. Can we get Morgan Frost? They're saying no. What else do I have to throw into this deal? We really don't have that many draft picks to work with. I don't want to trade our first round pick, so we're going to be trading a 3rd rounder, 2 4th rounders, a 5th rounder, and a medium bottom 6 potential prospect for Morgan Frost, who's now going to be our second line playmaker. I believe he's 1 overall higher than Matt Poitras, so now we're basically set. Also, I suppose it wouldn't hurt if we actually re-signed JJ Peterka here. So how about we do 4.7 for the next 4 years? I think that's a good deal for him. Now, if we were able to make the playoffs with the team we had last season, then we're winning a Stanley Cup with this team right here. It's improvements across the board. Every line on this team is better than it was last season. When it comes to the defense, that's looking amazing as well. And then when it comes to goaltending, we know who the number one is. Harrison, you're our guy. You're going to win us a Stanley Cup here because you are him. Like, I don't know why Harrison is him, but he's just that guy. He has proven time and time again you can rely on him. In the big time moments, you want Harrison between the pipes. Okay, I will say I am very disappointed with how the team's performing. 12th in the entire league, a 35-24-5 record, but I will say one thing. Last season, we had played 69 games by the trade deadline. This season, we've only played 64, so that's 5 games less than last season. So truthfully, I think we're actually better off than we were last season. 3.69 goals per game is great. 3 goals allowed certainly isn't the best, but it could be a lot worse here. Like, our goal differential is way better than what it was last season. Like, at this point last season, we had a negative goal differential. Sidney Crosby, 97 points. Mitch Martin, 97 points. Alexander Ovechkin, 92 points. And he's got 51 helpers. The top line looks amazing. And then there's every other line on this team, and that's what we have to work on. We have to work on every other line here because that's what's letting us down. The second line's not that great. The third line's not that great. The fourth line's not that great. It's literally every line but the first line hurting us here. When it comes to goaltending, Harrison, 24 wins, 1 shutout, a 904 and a 291. Ideally, you play some more games here. I don't know why Chris Drager's playing as many as he is. I think we got to trade this man just so Harrison starts more games. Because so far this season, Harrison's actually won a majority of the games he's played. Harrison's losing everything. And saying all of that, here's Thatcher Demko. Yeah, we're going to inquire about Thatcher Demko here. And you know what? This could be the move. Zach Bourne straight up for Thatcher Demko to get this deal done. I actually really like that move. Is there anyone else though that we could pick up here? Hoglander, Lekkermacki. All right, we're making some deals. We're making some big moves here. There's a lot of trades about to happen. So if we do Zach Morin and Scott Perunovich, we can bring in Thatcher Demko, Lekkermacki, and Hoglander. We would have to re-sign Thatcher Demko, but I think we can get it done. We're also going to throw Chris Drager in this deal just so we can get him off the team. Like, I'm not really paying him that much, but if we trade him, we do free up 1.6 million for next season, and we could use that 1.6 million. Thatcher Demko, Lekkermacki, Hoglander, welcome to the team, but I don't think we're done yet because I think we have too many forwards now. We got to free up some cap space for next season because I do want to bring Demko back to the team. And you know what? I think our next trade is probably just going to involve Chinakhov here. He's not really performing for me, only 11 goals so far. He has 36 points in 64 games. He's minus 11, but we're about to pay this man over $4 million next season. I picked up Hoglander. He's only $3 million for the next 3 years, so that's $1.3 million cheaper. If we get rid of Chinakhov, that helps us with Thatcher Demko's extension because we are going to have to keep him on this team. We also could trade Holmstrom away here. We trade him, move Taylor Radish onto the fourth line. I think that could be the move. I mean, we also could just trade him because we are going to have Lekkermacki now playing bottom 6 minutes. So yeah, Chinakhov, Holmstrom, I'm trading both of you guys away. Okay, so we are going to have 1 pick over the next 2 seasons, but I'm perfectly fine with that. We're bringing in McGroarty and we're bringing in Pickering. The big thing about these 2 guys, they're on cheap contracts, so we're freeing up about $7 million. With $7 million freed up, we should have enough money to re-sign Thatcher Demko. Now, it's kind of wild, but in back-to-back videos now, I've acquired Thatcher Demko. He's looking for $7.1 million for 1 season. Ideally, we're not just doing 1 season with you. I'd like to lock you down for multiple years here, but you know what? If we can only hold on to Thatcher Demko for 1 season after this one, I'm not against that. So we'll try 6.5 for 1 season. Thatcher Demko is going to be returning for us next season, so we have him for the cup run this season and the cup run next season. On top of Thatcher Demko for this season and next season, there is nobody else on the team we have to re-sign. Everyone's already under contract for next season, so there's nothing we have to worry about during the re-sign phase. Now, after bringing in Thatcher Demko, things completely changed for us. The Sacramento Swords, 7th in the entire league, a 48-27-7 record. We have an elite offense, but just look at our defense now, only allowing 2.9 goals. That's a significant difference. I don't know if it's the fact that we brought Thatcher Demko in or we got Chris Drager off the team because that man was holding us back big time. Sidney Crosby, 133 points, including 51 goals. Mitch Martin, 128 points. Ovi's picking up 66 goals and 52 helpers for 118 points. And then there's the rest of the team here. Yeah, they played their role. Nothing I can really say about them. Hoglander, 10 points in 18 games. You really weren't that bad in the bottom 6. But yeah, our first line's carrying the way here. And who else is carrying the way? Thatcher Demko. Because since we brought him to the team, 13 wins, 3 losses, 1 OT loss, a shutout, a 923, and a 236. These are definitely better numbers than what he had in Vancouver. Thatcher Demko's taking over for us, and it's time for us to get a Stanley Cup. In year number 2 with the Sacramento Sword, Sidney Crosby and Ovi are about to be hoisting a Stanley Cup together. All they have to do is win 16 postseason games. Now, before we head into this postseason, I will say one thing with Thatcher Demko we have to be aware of. Although this is NHL 25 Thatcher Demko, he has a very short leash. If you didn't watch my last video, you might know what I'm talking about, but we're dropping the first 2 games. Demko, I will trade you over the offseason if I have to. I am not afraid to do so. We're winning back-to-back games after that. Can we win 3 straight games and put the Vegas Golden Knights on the brink of elimination? Yes, we can. It's a big overtime win. All we have to do is close it out in game number 6 here. All I'm asking for is one more win, and that's what we're going to get. We have ourselves a bit of momentum. We've won 4 straight games, and we're about to continue that winning streak against the Winnipeg Jets. Outside of those first 2 games, Thatcher Demko's been pretty solid, but he has allowed 6 goals in back-to-back games. We've lost 3 straight games. We almost got swept, but a Thatcher Demko shutout's going to save us. But he needs to save us again in game number 5 here, and it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. We're going to be dropping that one 4-3. I'm immediately going to look at those numbers. If you're wondering what I'm talking about when it comes to Thatcher Demko postseason numbers, just watch my last video. Watch that Buffalo Sabres video and you will understand what I'm talking about. Ovi 11 points, Mitch Marner 11 points, Sidney Crosby 8 points. But when it comes to Thatcher Demko's numbers here, 5 wins, 2 shutouts, a 9-11 and a 284. I can't complain about this. A 9-11 and a 284 really isn't too bad with 2 shutouts. You were pretty solid in the first round, very questionable in the second round, but your goals against was below 3 and your save percentage was above 900, so I guess I can keep you around for another season. But if at any point during the postseason you've allowed more than 3 goals per game and your save percentage is below 900, you will immediately be shipped off this team. Also, I've come to the conclusion that Thatcher Demko is only a stick on the ice legend and an elite goaltender when he's not on my team. If I have NHL 25 Thatcher Demko on my team, he sucks. Plain and simple, he is not that guy. If he's on any other team in the league, he is the greatest goaltender of all time. Marty Brodeur, Patrick Waugh, got nothing on that man. When Thatcher Demko isn't on my team, nobody can compete with him. He is him. Now we have a big draft in front of us. The Gavin McKenna draft, the 2026 NHL draft. That's a ton of great superstars in it. And just like that, the draft is over. We had 0 picks. On top of the draft being incredibly quiet, the re-sign phase is going to be really quiet as well. We're not bringing anyone back to the team. I'm going to re-sign our coaching staff because they did their thing here. We'll sign a couple scouts and that's basically it. Now when it comes to handing out extensions, things aren't going to be as smoothly as I thought they would be because Sidney Crosby wants $14.7 million. I don't want to do $14.7 million, but we don't really have a choice here because we need to keep Sidney Crosby around. Maybe we can do $13.5 million with a no movement. But you know what? The no movement's actually going to be helping us a lot more than I expected. We'll do $12.7 million for one season. That's $4 million more than what he's getting paid right now. So that is going to hurt us a little bit, but we're going to find a way to get it done. Also, when it comes to Lecker, we'll do a 2-year extension at $1.8 million. He could potentially play some second line minutes. More than likely not, but you know what? Crazier things have happened. And then when it comes to McGroarty, we'll do $2.4 million for the next 2 years. Now, after all of these guys sign their extensions, I think we're going to have to wait until the salary cap goes up if we want to keep Demko on this team. I mean, we also can't give Demko an extension quite yet, so yeah, there's not really too much we can do. Now, McGroarty's not going to be accepting that last contract offer, but now he's interested in 2 seasons, so we should be able to do 2.3 for the next 2. I'm 99% sure that's almost identical to what we offered him the first time, but I guess it doesn't matter now because he's going to be accepting the contract. Now, we're going to have Thatcher Demko for the entire season, so I think we could potentially be looking at a 55, maybe even 60 win campaign. Mitch Marner, Sidney Crosby, and Ovi are going to do their thing. JJ Peterka, Morgan Frost, Morgan Geeky, I need you guys to have incredible seasons here. I need all of you to be at least plus 20 this season. Lecker Mackey, Mason Appleton, Voronkov, I know you're going to hold it down for me on the bottom 6. When it comes to our defense, the first pairing is amazing, but when it comes to the second pairing, maybe that's why our second line isn't performing as well. We just need another superstar when it comes to the second line. And then when it comes to goaltending, we already know Thatcher Demko is the number 1 here, but if Ersson has to step in, I'm perfectly fine with that. Now, it's the day before the trade deadline, and we might as well make sure that we lock down Thatcher Demko for the future, because if we're unable to lock him down, we might as well trade him away, but we're not going to have to worry about trading him away. We're going to be locking him down for the exact same contract he's on right now, except that we're going to be adding a no movement, 6.5 for the next 3. Thatcher Demko, welcome back to the team. Now, outside of Demko, there is a handful of players that we have to sign here, but we'll find money later for them. Like Perbix are not coming back to the team if you're asking for around $5 million. Trent Frederick could possibly come back to the team, and he's 1000% coming back to the team. 1.8 for the next 3 years. Trent Frederick's an absolute legend. Taylor Radish, how much are you going to be looking for here? Yeah, you can certainly come back to the team for that price. We actually might be able to keep basically everyone around. Brandstrom, how much are you going to be looking for? 2.1 million. How about I make that 1.9? He's definitely not going to be accepting 1.9 million, so I think we'll actually just let him walk here. Owen Pickering, how much are you looking for? You're playing AHL minutes for me right now, so I can do 900k for the next 2 seasons. So we're at the trade deadline. The Sacramento Sword are looking amazing, 5th in the entire league with a 39-19-4 record. The offense is doing their thing, and so is the defense. 2.92 goals allowed. That Demko's really turned this team around. Alexander Ovechkin 79 points, but we can tell he's starting to regress, but that really shouldn't be much of a surprise. Bro's 41 years old. Sidney Crosby 79 points as well. Mitch Marner 68 points. I was expecting a bit more from him. I don't know why they're struggling as much this season. Provorov 44 points. JJ Peterka 42. Yeah, the first line's carrying the way here. If we didn't have such an elite first line, I don't even know if we'd be seeing any success here. Morgan Frost, you're -11 and you only have 28 points. Yeah, we're moving on from Morgan Frost. We're going to trade him away. We're going to get a different playmaker for the second line. I don't know what this team's doing right now. Meanwhile, when it comes to Thatcher Demko's numbers, 34 wins, 3 shots, a 910 to 275. These numbers are really good, but once we upgrade our second line, those numbers are going to look even better. Alright, so we're going to pull off a big time trade here. Morgan Frost, a first and second round pick, are being sent over to the Islanders. Siplikov's going to be brought in. He's going to be a really good second line playmaker for us. He's an 87 overall. We're going to move Morgan Geekie to center, and then we'll be able to have Morgan Geekie, Siplikov, and JJ Peterka on the second line. That line's certainly going to produce for us. Now, to finish up the season, the Sacramento Sword actually weren't as good as I was expecting. 7th in the entire league, a 48-30-4 record. Are you telling me that replacing Morgan Frost with Siplikov is going to make us worse? That shouldn't be how it works here. Sidney Crosby has dropped to an 89 overall. Okay, that explains why we're not performing as well. Our 3 legends are regressing on me way too quick. Like Sidney Crosby, 89 overall. Ovi's a 91 overall. What has happened to these 2 greats right here? Mitch Marner, 88 points this season. Siplikov, I'm actually pretty interested to see what you did since joining the team here. You had 19 points in 20 games, but you were -6. Okay, I think we have to fix our second pairing defense. We need an elite defenseman on the second pairing, and that's going to fix our second line here. Does that logic make sense? Not really, but you got to trust the logic. We'll make it work. Thatcher Demko, 42 wins, 3 shots, a 906 and a 289. The regular season doesn't mean anything to me. This is the only thing I care about the postseason. We're taking on the Colorado Avalanche in the first round. It's time for Sacramento to take over. Now, I have confidence in our team for this season. Don't get me wrong. Moving into next season and the season after, I am a little bit concerned because Sidney Crosby's regressing. Alexander Ovechkin's regressing. If those 2 guys both fall off on me, there's a good chance that we don't even make the postseason the following year. But you know what? We're not worried about that right now. We're more worried about getting past the Colorado Avalanche, and we're going to take them down to shutout. We're moving on to the second round to take on the Edmonton Oilers. Now, the Edmonton Oilers are certainly going to be a tough team. They have Connor McDavid, they have Leon Draisaitl, and truthfully, that's all that team needs. But we're going to be winning the first 3 games. Can we make that the first 4? We're going to be taking them down to sweep here. We're moving on to the conference finals. The Sword are rolling right now. But now we have one of our toughest tasks. The Chicago Blackhawks, led by Connor Bedard. They've been absolutely dominating so far, but maybe they're just not quite good enough. We had won 8 straight games moving into game 4. We're going to be dropping that one, but I can guarantee this team's not going to be blowing a 3-0 series lead, or at least I hope we're not blowing a 3-0 series lead here. We're closing out in game number 6, and we're in the Stanley Cup final for the first time in this video. Of course we have Florida. Why am I not surprised? I should have fully expected to see Florida in the Stanley Cup final. It's the Sacramento Sword taking on the Florida Panthers. 2 great teams are matching up here, but I need the Sword to stand tall when it matters most. We dropped game number 1 and game number 3, but luckily we're going to be winning game 2. Now it's time for us to win game number 4. Unfortunately, that's not going to be happening. We're down 3-1 the series entering game 5. We got to make a pretty quick comeback here. So we just got to take it 1 period at a time, 1 minute at a time. Don't make this too complicated. Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk are scoring for Florida, while Alexander Ovechkin and Voronkov are going to be scoring for the Sword. Moving into the second period, it's Sidney Crosby and Mason Appleton. Meanwhile, Barkov scoring for Florida. So it's a 1-goal game entering the third. Florida could definitely make the comeback here, but we got Thatcher Demko in between the pipes, and he's going to show up when it matters here. Wow, that is something. Okay, we allowed 5 unanswered in the third period, and we lost this game. We lost this game 8-5. I don't even know what to say about that. No, like, we really had a 1-goal lead entering the third period. We were up 4-3 entering the third, and then we allowed 5 unanswered in the third period, lost that one 8-5. We got dominated. Nothing else I can say about that one. I can't sugarcoat it whatsoever. Ovi had 17 goals in 21 games. Sidney Crosby had 26 points. Mitch Marner 24. Once again, it's the second line. JJ Peterka -9. Siplikov -8. Like, maybe I'd trade Morgan Geekie here. He's an 88 overall. He'll have decently high trade value. I gave him a modified no trade, so we can trade him away. I think we have to rebuild our second line completely. I think everyone on the second line, including Siplikov, who we just traded for, is going to have to be moved here. because this is beyond ridiculous. I don't even want to look at Thatcher Demko's numbers. I know they're not going to be good. Like, we allowed 8 goals in that final game, 5 goals in game number 4. No, this team did not show up at all for me. All right, so we all know we don't have to spend too much time here because we don't have any draft picks. So once again, we're going to be making no selections in the draft here, but we're going to be making a lot of trades over the offseason. We're rebuilding the second line completely. Like, our second line has not performed. They've been the sole reason why we haven't been seeing success, and I won't allow that any longer. Now, though we have $8 million to work with, I'm actually not going to sign any of these guys right here because we're going to go make a big splash and we're going to need that $8 million. Now, I want to use part of that $8 million for our team this season, but we also have to utilize it for some extensions because we need to re-sign Alexander Ovechkin and we need to re-sign Sidney Crosby still. Now, Ovi, you're not interested in an extension? No, you're not helping me whatsoever. Ovi and Crosby are not helping me at all here. We have to pay these guys the big bucks now. So I'll do $11 million for Alexander Ovechkin. That's $500K more than what he's getting paid right now. And then Crosby's probably going to be looking for another $12 million. I don't think we're going to have enough money for Bo Byram here. Bo Byram wants 8.6. I guess we can actually make this work because we're going to be able to do $7.5 million with a no movement. We only need him for 1 season after this one, so that contract's going to work perfect for us. Then when it comes to Siplikov, I actually don't have to worry about giving you $9.8 million because I'm trading you. Yeah, we don't need you on this team anymore. I do need Hoglander for the bottom 6 though, so here's 2.5 for 1 season. All right, so we're fully rebuilding the second line here. We need to get some big upgrades across the board. So we're going to start with Siplikov and a second round pick over to Utah. We're bringing in Dylan Guenther. Dylan Guenther is definitely going to shoot the puck. We know what this man's capable of. I'll throw in a 3rd round pick as well. That's a great start to the offseason, but we still have to make a handful more moves. So in a 5-year rebuild, we're not worried about drafting whatsoever because drafting's not going to help us here. So JJ Peterkin, our 1st round pick for 2029, is going to be sent over to Washington. Ryan Leonard's going to be brought in. He's only getting paid $3.3 for the next 3 seasons, and that's a reasonable contract we can work with. We're also going to be getting 2 second round picks, or at least that's what I was hoping for. I guess we're only going to walk away with 1 second rounder. You're telling me we can't even get 1 second round pick in this deal? That's not fair whatsoever. So here's a 3rd rounder in order to get a second. I think that's fair. No, we're getting fleeced here. If you won't give me a second rounder, give me at least 2 3rd round picks. I need some draft compensation back. We actually just might be getting completely fleeced here. We're not getting any draft picks back. It's going to be JJ Peterkin, a 1st round pick for Ryan Leonard, and I still have to give up more. No, like, this is absolutely ridiculous, but if it can help us win a Stanley Cup, then it's certainly worth it. Now, our second line isn't going to have a true playmaker on the team. We're going to have a sniper and 2 two-way forwards. However, the two-way forwards that we have on the team, they certainly can pass the puck quite a bit. Like Marco Kasper, he picked up 31 helpers last season. I believe Ryan Leonard was in the 40s when it comes to assists. So I think both of those guys are going to be a great fit alongside Dylan Guenther. We're going 1 for 1 here. More than geeky straight for Marco Kasper. They're going to be rejecting that offer, but it's just because they need a couple draft picks. So here's a 3rd round pick, and then hopefully that's going to be enough. Okay, we're done drafting in this video. Nope, we are trading all of our draft picks away. I don't care what it takes anymore. I just need to get these deals done. Like, we are no longer trying to hold on to any draft picks. We're here to win Stanley Cups, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to trade everything we have in order to win. Now, when I said I don't care about draft picks and I'm willing to trade them all away, I was 100% serious. I'm going to make a deal with Detroit now. We're trading our 2028 1st round pick, so we have no picks for 2028. Evanson's going to be brought to the team. Shea Boyum's also going to be brought to the team. He's probably going to end up playing some 3rd pairing minutes for us. That's going to work out really well once we get this deal done because I'm trading all of our picks. Right now, we only have 4 defensemen, and because we have 4 defensemen, our 1st round pick has way more value than it should. I'm going to throw all of our draft picks in for 2028 and 2029, so we're going to go 4 straight years without making a draft pick, but that's perfectly fine because we're going to win a Stanley Cup. And in case you think we have a terrible prospect pool because of all the trades I've been making, I'm just going into free agency and signing players that have decent value. Like, I can find medium top 6 potential players that teams aren't interested in and bring them to the team for incredibly cheap. Bordeleau's a perfect example of this. $800K for the next 2 seasons. He's 25 years old and 78 overall. He could play some AHL minutes for me for sure. Now, it turns out there's actually one more trade we have to make. We have to improve the right side defense a little more. So Alex Vlasic and Mason Appleton are going to be shipped out. Michael Kesselring are going to come in and change the franchise. So I'm certainly not setting unrealistic expectations for you. So we rebuilt our second line, and on top of rebuilding the second line, we also rebuilt our second pairing defense. Our defense is in a better spot. Our forward core is in a better spot. As an entire team, I think we're in a better spot, but I shouldn't really say that because Sidney Crosby has dropped to an 87 overall. Alexander Ovechkin's dropped to a 90 overall. These guys certainly aren't the players they used to be, but I know for a fact they have 2 more good years left in them. They have Mitch Marner on the top line with them, so he can supply a bit of support, but I'm just not too sure if this team's going to be able to step up when it matters most. When the lights are the brightest and I need somebody to stand tall, can Thatcher Demko be that guy? I'm expecting a big bounce back campaign from you, and I'm expecting you to lead us to a Stanley Cup. Yeah, so I can confidently say we made the right moves. We've already made the playoffs. We're first first in the entire league, a 50-12-5 record, and it's the trade deadline. This team has made the playoffs at the trade deadline. We already have 50 wins. We're not making any changes to this team. There will not be a single trade that happens. Sidney Crosby, Ovi, Mitch Marner, you guys are incredible this season. Alexander Ovechkin's almost averaging a goal per game. That's absolutely ridiculous. Dylan Guenther, 73 points. He's plus 17. Ryan Leonard, he's plus 18. Marco Kasper, plus 11. So the second line's actually performing for me. No, I never thought I'd see the day. I never expected this team would actually perform, but here we are. Everyone's playing their role here. And then when it comes to Thatcher Demko's goaltending numbers, 38 wins, 4 shouts, a 914 a 269, the best numbers we've seen from him yet. But can this team step up in the postseason? When the lights are the brightest, can we win? Of course we can, or at least I really hope we can. I mean, we haven't proved that we can win a Stanley Cup because we haven't won one yet, but we will this season. Before we get to the postseason though, there is a little money we have to spend here because we have to keep Sidney Crosby on the team, and that's what we're going to be doing. $10 million for the next 2 seasons. We're giving him a no movement, and we actually can probably do less than $10 million. Ideally, we actually just do $8.7 million here. If we can lock Sidney Crosby down to $8.7 for the next 2 years, that's the perfect contract for Crosby to finish his career on. And then Shea Bouillon will keep you around as well, 2.4 for the next 2 seasons. So we're basically just going to be running back with the exact same team for the final 2 years. Now there's no excuses with this team. First in the entire league, a 60-17-5 record. We have the best offense in the NHL and we have the best defense in the NHL. So we are the best at everything. I take that back. We are the second best defensive team. The New Jersey Devils allowed 1 less goal than us. You know what? We're going to pretend we didn't see that, but we're definitely going to acknowledge this. Sidney Crosby, 132 points, 49 goals, 83 helpers. Alexander Ovechkin, 71 goals, 128 points. No, these guys are absolutely elite. I don't care if they're 40 years old and 42 years old respectfully. These guys have been absolutely dominating. Mitch Marner, a way better season. This entire team from top to bottom was playing way better this season. Thatcher Demko, 46 wins, 6 shouts, a 914 to 266. But none of that previous success we've seen matters. We have the Utah Hockey Club in the first round. The Sacramento Sword are yet to win a Stanley Cup. We made to the Cup final last season, but we fell to the Florida Panthers. That's not happening this season. We're going to close it out. We might have lost to the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup final, but it doesn't matter because we're going to get our way back to the Stanley Cup final and we're going to close it out this time. We lost game number 1 and game number 3. Not a great sign, but you know what? We're winning games 2 and games 4. So we split the series with Utah. Now we just have to win 2 of the next 3. We're winning game number 5 and let's close out in game 6 to keep this simple because the last thing I want to do is go to game 7 elimination, and it looks like we don't have to worry about that. However, we do have to worry about the fact that we allowed 6 goals in that last game. Thatcher Demko hasn't necessarily been the most elite so far. Like, he allowed 7 goals in game number 1, 6 goals in game number 6. The defense on this team is very questionable right now. Like, we've split the series so far with Edmonton, but look at this. 8 goals allowed in game number 3. We can't have that. So our defense needs to be absolutely locked in moving forward. We're going to steal game number 5, and now we're going to steal game 6. Just kidding. We have to go to game 7. Maybe NHL 25, Thatcher Demko just isn't that guy when he's on my team. When he's on my team, he is no longer NHL 25 Thatcher Demko. And you know what? I think that might be the case here because we're about to fall to the Edmonton Oilers. A late push from the Sword wasn't enough. Like, back-to-back goals here weren't enough to save us. So we're going to be falling to the Edmonton Oilers in the second round. Demko, you're just not that guy for me. And whether or not Demko's that guy or not doesn't really matter because we have him locked down with a no movement, so we can't trade him away. We have to rely on Thatcher Demko to win us a Stanley Cup here, and I don't have the most confidence in him right now. Okay, plain and simple, it was the goaltending. Goaltending and defense let us down. Ovi 17 points, Provorov 14 points, Mitch Marner 13 points, Dylan Guenther 13 points, Sidney Crosby 12, Ryan Leonard 11, Lekkermacky 10 points. All of these guys had 10 points or more, and we only played 13 games. We had 4 guys who were at a point a game, and then when it comes to Thatcher Demko's numbers, an 889 to 369. Like, what are you doing out there, Demko? Meanwhile, if you're curious who won the Stanley Cup, it's the Florida Panthers. They're going back to back here, and what a surprise, they're beating the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup final. Connor McDavid's never going to get his get back. Now, I never thought I'd see the day, but here we are. Thatcher Demko, are you interested in being traded to any team in the NHL? If I am able to trade you away, I think I'm willing to do so, but it doesn't look like it. Thatcher Demko wants to stay with the team, and part of me wants Thatcher Demko to stay with this team, but I need him to show up for me. In the big time moments when the lights are the brightest, I need Thatcher Demko to be that guy, and so far he just hasn't been him. When it comes to the team, I don't think we're making any trades. I think we're actually in a really good spot overall wise. There's not really any moves I would want to make for this team. The forward core looks great. The defense looks pretty solid here as well. I just need Thatcher Demko to stand tall for me. When the lights are the brightest, I need him to be that guy. All right, here we go. We get one last chance with the team. Sidney Crosby, Ovi, Mitch Marner, Ryan Leonard, Marco Casper, Dylan Gunther. You should be a good enough top 6 to lead me to a Stanley Cup here. When it comes to the defense, we have a good enough defense to win a Stanley Cup, but do we have a good enough goaltender here? Thatcher Demko, you're up to a 90 overall. I have no clue how you just went up 1 overall after your postseason performance. We know you're going to have some great numbers during the regular season. That is common knowledge at this point, but perform in the playoffs for me. Just give me an elite run in the Stanley Cup final, and I will forgive you for all of the misdeeds you've done to me. Okay, hold on here. Just wait 1 minute. We have to discuss something, because what is happening in January right now is actually making me lose my mind. So this team was really good to start out the season. We won 22 straight games before we eventually lost to the Seattle Kraken, and then after losing to the Seattle Kraken, we went on another hot streak. At one point in the season, we had a 34-2 record. We were unstoppable. Then we won back-to-back games, so we were 36-2. Nobody could compete with us. Explain to me why we've lost the past 4 games now. We're on a 4-game losing streak. We were 36-2. And now we've lost 4 in a row. How does that even work? On top of that, we lost to the 12-win Vancouver Canucks, the 29-win Minnesota Wild, so granted, Minnesota's not that bad, the 23-win Dallas Stars, they're not looking too hot right now, and then the 23-win Chicago Blackhawks. Out of the 4 teams we lost to, the only team that's actually in a playoff spot right now is the Minnesota Wild. We lost to the Minnesota Wild, who are at the top of their division, and then we lost to 3 teams that currently aren't even in the playoffs. How on earth does that happen? We just lost to Nashville. We lost to Nashville and St. Louis. This game is so incredibly stupid. Why are we losing now? We were 36-2 and we've lost 7 in a row. Are we about to lose 8 games in a row now? I am losing my mind here. Why on earth would a team that went 36-2 to start the season, was looking like the greatest team of all time, then lose 7 in a row? Why are we losing all of a sudden? You don't start the season 36-2 and then immediately lose 7 in a row. That just doesn't happen. Now I'm going to say as little as possible here. We're first in the entire league. We did at one point lose 7 straight games after starting the season 36-2, but that's beside the point. We have 3 100-point scores. All of them are from the first line. The second line looks great as well. Everyone played their role here. Thatcher Demko, I don't really know if these numbers are good or bad this season. I'm going to be completely honest, because at one point we were 36-2 and then lost 7 in a row. I will never get over that. Why on earth did we lose 7 in a row after starting 36-2? It makes no sense. We're taking on Utah in the first round. I'm not even turning the face cam on. We're just going to lock in. We're just going to simulate the entire postseason, and we are going to pray this team learns how to show up. So here we go. We're taking on the Utah Hockey Club in the first round. Of course, we're losing game number 1. This shouldn't be a surprise. We dropped game number 2 as well. How did that even happen? We're responding in game 3. We better win game number 4 here. Thankfully, we're going to be doing that. Moving into game 5, we're going to win that. Can we steal game 6 as well? We might get eliminated. Ain't no way. A team that started 36-2 and then lost 7 in a row, that won 63 games this season. I think we won 63 or 64. I actually don't even care anymore. We lost in the first round to Utah. You know what? I do care. Let's go see how many games we won this season. I actually don't remember. I think it was 64 games. It was 64 games. We won 64 games this season, lost in the first round to Utah. The scoring numbers, they look pretty good. So that can only tell me one thing. Thatcher Demko, you folded. A 906 and a 295. We started the season 36-2. In our first 38 games, we lost 2 of them. I don't think we are comprehending how amazing of a start that is. 36-2. We lost 2 games in the first 38. We then proceeded to lose 7 in a row after that. The downfall of the Sacramento Sword came in January. When we went on that 7-game losing streak, that's when I lost all faith in this team. I don't care how good we looked during the regular season, we were bound to fail after that 7-game losing streak.